Hello there, I'm Alex, and I sell cheese for a living. As a cheesemonger and certified cheese professional, I have helped thousands of customers find their favorite cheese. Each episode, I'll share a little bit of what I've learned from behind the counter as we dive into the vast and fascinating world of all things cheese. Welcome back to The Modern Monger. Today we're going to talk about one of the biggest events on the American cheese calendar, the American Cheese Society Cheese Awards. If you listen to the last episode, you already know the basics of what the ACS is, how the judging works, and how the winners are chosen. So today we're keeping that part short and getting right to the fun stuff, the cheeses that won, the makers behind them, and what the results tell us about where American cheese making is right now. The quick version is this. The ACS Awards matter because they're a serious blind-tasted competition judged within style-based categories, so cheeses are compared against others like them rather than against everything all at once. And the 2026 results gave us plenty to talk about. At the very top of the list were Winnemere from Jasper Hill Farm, Arts from Blakesville Creamery, and Nariguda from Urbanstead Cheese. Those three cheeses were the headline winners, and they're a great place to start because they show just how broad and impressive American cheese can be. So in this episode, I'm going to do a quick recap of the ACS Awards and then spend most of our time on the winners themselves. Before we get into the winners, here's a short version of what the ACS Cheese Awards are. American Cheese Society runs an annual judging competition that's widely considered one of the most important cheese awards in North America. It's a professional competition built around blind tasting, style accuracy, and technical quality. In other words, the cheese has to taste great, but it also has to be a strong example of the style it's trying to be. And that style-based judging is what makes the ACS so useful. A fresh goat cheese isn't being compared directly to a washed rind wheel or a long-aged cheddar. Instead, each cheese is judged against others in its own category, which makes the results much more meaningful. And because the competition is so detailed, ties can happen within a subcategory. That means more than one cheese can share a placement if the scores are close enough. So when you look at the results, you're not just seeing a simple list of medals, you're seeing a very nuanced picture of how the judges evaluated the field. For makers, an ACS medal is a big deal because it signals that the cheese stood out in a serious blind tasting. For retailers and mongers, it's a pretty helpful buying tool. For consumers, it's a shortcut to discovering cheeses that are worth paying attention to. The American Cheese Society was founded in the early 80s by people who believed American cheese deserved more education, more attention, and more respect. At the time, the U.S. cheese scene looked very different from what it does now. There were fewer artisan producers, fewer specialty shops, and a lot less public awareness of how diverse American cheese could be. The ACS grew out of a need for connection and education. Cheesemakers needed a place to share knowledge. Cheesemongers needed better training, and the buyers needed a way to understand quality. Over time, the awards became one of the most visible parts of that mission. And as the American artisan cheese movement grew, the awards grew with it. More people started paying attention. What began as a niche industry competition became a major annual benchmark for the entire American cheese world. Since I covered the full judging process last time, I'm going to keep this a little brief, but in case you didn't listen to last episode, the ACS entries are sorted into categories based on style, milk type, aging, and other defining traits. The judging's blind, so the judges don't know who made the cheese when they taste it. They evaluate things like appearance, aroma, texture, body, and flavor, balance, and whether the cheeses fit its style very well. The medal system is pretty straightforward. Gold, silver, and bronze recognize the cheeses that rise to the top of their categories. And because ties happen, you can see multiple cheeses sharing the same placement in a subcategory. Now, the biggest headline this year was Winnemere from Jasper Hill Farm taking Best of Show. And that's a major win. It's very easy to see why. Winnemere is the kind of cheese that makes a strong impression right away. It's rich, savory, deeply expressive, and it's beautifully put together. A Best of Show winner has to feel complete, and Winnemere clearly did. Two other cheeses in the top three were Arts from Blakesville Creamery and Nariguda from Urbanstead Cheese. Now together, those three winners tell a really interesting story about the range of excellence in American cheese. Winnemere shows power with depth and presence. Arts represents the precision and balance, and the Nariguda is a reminder that Gouda-style cheeses can absolutely compete with the highest level when they're made with care and confidence. Beyond those top three, the 2026 awards also reflected something we see year after year. Strong regions tend to keep producing strong cheese. And that usually points towards good milk, experienced teams, and a culture of craftsmanship that keeps pushing standards higher. There were also very familiar names among the medalists, which is always a sign of consistency. Repeat wins, always a good thing. You always want a repeat win, but it doesn't mean you're just having one lucky year. It shows you are consistently producing top quality products. Now, obviously, I've talked a little bit about the top 3 for the best of show, but now I'm going to tell you all the categories, not the subcategories, because there are far too many that I would just be reading a list for the next 30 minutes. But the categories that a cheese or a milk product can be entered into for its judging. So here are the categories. Obviously, best of show, those are going to be the cheeses that get the highest scores throughout the judging process from every category. Then you have stuff like butters, cultured milk and cream products, fresh unripened cheeses, cheddars, blue mold cheeses, soft ripened cheeses. You have Hispanic and Portuguese cheeses. There are Italian type cheeses, feta cheeses, American made and international style, low fat, low salt, smoked cheeses, goat's milk cheeses, sheep's milk cheeses, marinated cheeses, cold pack and club cheeses, washed rind cheeses, farmstead cheeses, American originals, and a category that I think they said was new this year was consumer ready convenience cheese, which is kind of fun. A lot of products are consumer ready and convenient, and they don't always come in a big 20-pound wheel. Sometimes it's just going to be a little 5 or an 8-ounce container of something. And those should also have their time to shine and show consumers and mongers, hey, even though this comes in a prepackaged unit and it maybe not is going to be at a cut and wrap store, maybe it is, it would still show them that it is of good quality and it deserves a place in your shop to be sold to consumers. So I think that's really cool. Now, again, those are the 20 something categories that were judged, but within each category, there are subcategories, and that gets even more specific on how each cheese group was organized. Again, like I said, I'm not going to go into the specifics right now, but I encourage you to go check out the full list of winners and all the categories that were judged. All the information is available online. And what I think is fun about the judging is sometimes there are ties for first. You can have ties for second or for third, and some categories don't even get a first place winner because they don't earn enough points, but you'll have ties for second. And so even within a subcategory, you could have a first, a second, and a third place with multiple winners on each of those placings. So it really doesn't matter if you inch out your competitor by 0.1%. You could tie within that 0.1%. So the judging can be very close sometimes. I think one of the things I love about the American Cheese Society Awards is that every year it adds another chapter to the history of American cheese. And I'm not talking about little yellow squares. I'm talking about American made cheese. You know, when a cheese earns best of show, it isn't just winning a competition, it's joining a very exclusive list, and it includes some of the finest cheeses ever made in North America. Years from now, cheesemongers, buyers, judges, and cheese enthusiasts will look back at these winners the same way we look back at legendary vintages of wine. In 2025, the best of show title went to Alfred Le Fermier from Fromagerie La Station in Quebec. Taking second place was Withersbrook Blue from Cellars at Jasper Hill in Vermont, and third place went to Grand Trunk from Stonetown Cheese in Ontario. It was another year that highlighted just how strong American cheese making has become across North America. And the year before that, in 2024, Raclette de Comten à Poivre. I apologize, I am not French. Also from Fromagerie La Station. I talked about this in the last episode, how incredibly rare it is to have 2 back-to-back year winners from the same company, but with a different cheese. That is insane. So 2024 and 2025 belongs to this cheese-making company in Quebec. But it just shows that they're in very good company, because the next few cheeses in second place of 2024 was La Cousin from Fromagerie Medard and Flagship Reserve from Beecher's Handmade Cheese. And a few years back in 2023, the number 1 title belonged to St. Malachi from the farm at Doe Run in Pennsylvania. Second place went to Cumberland from Cove Creamery in Tennessee. The judges awarded a rare 3-way tie for third place, recognizing Pleasant Ridge Reserve from Uplands Cheese in Wisconsin, Prairie Tome from Green Dirt Farm in Missouri, and Basket Molded Chev from Pure Luck Farm and Dairy in Texas. And that tie really speaks to just how close the judging can be at the highest level. I mean, we're not even talking about a subcategory within a category. We're talking about best of show. That means 3 cheeses among all the categories tied for third place. It's insane the amount of quality products that would have been in the judging room that year. And now we go back to this year, 2026, more legendary names add to the list. Winnemere and Arts and Nadi Gouda. I mean, their cheese is built on exceptional milk, thoughtful craftsmanship, patience, and consistency. They're made by people who have spent years refining their recipes, understanding their animals, dialing in their affinage, and chasing tiny improvements that most people would never notice. And I think for me, that's what makes an ACS Best of Show finish so meaningful. You do win a ribbon or a medal, but more than that, you earn a place in the history of American-made cheese. If I haven't said it already, congratulations to every cheesemaker whose name appeared on any list of winners from this year or previous years from the American Cheese Society Conference. So that is my quick 2026 ACS Cheese Awards recap in a very small nutshell. If you are a cheesemonger, I hope this episode gives you a few new cheeses to seek out and a few new stories to tell. If you're a retailer, I hope it helps you think about how awards can guide your buying and merchandising. And if you're just a plain old cheese lover, I hope this inspires you to try something new the next time you spot one of these award-winning cheeses out in the wild. Congratulations again to Winnemere, Arts, and Nadi Gouda, along with all the other 2026 ACS Cheese Award winners. Thank you to the makers, the judges, and the organizers who keep this tradition going strong. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. My name is Alex, and this has been The Modern Monger.